OpenAI, the company behind ChatGPT, huge company. It's worth like $500 billion, even though apparently like its revenue in the last year was $12 billion, not its profit. Its revenue was $12 billion. So maybe a bubble. Anyway, they have very high expectations for themselves. They want to be worth over $1 trillion in the next few years. And to generate that sort of valuation, you need to start to bring in some more money. So what do you do? And they're doing a lot of stuff to try to, like they have their different membership tiers. They're working to potentially add some ads to ChatGPT. So get ready for that. But if you really need to generate money, then you're probably gonna have to do the thing that they've avoided doing, which is free up the restraints on certain types of content. And so Sam Altman has announced in this tweet that you're seeing a lot of different stuff. They're dealing with the fact that ChatGPT has apparently helped to inspire some people to potentially commit acts of violence against themselves. It's very dark. But he also rolls out at the very end of that long tweet in December, as we roll out age gating more fully, and as part of our treat adult users like adults principle, we will allow even more, like erotica for verified adults. And he later posted another tweet saying, okay, this tweet about upcoming changes to ChatGPT blew up on the erotica point much more than I thought it was going to. You didn't think that was gonna be big? ChatGPT has never allowed that stuff. It's by far the biggest AI platform. That's gonna generate a lot of attention. That's why you did it, don't lie to me. But anyway, I am worried about this, Brett. Not just the stuff with the kids or whatever, but like already usage of these AI things is sucking up fresh water, and it's also leading to electricity prices going up. They've already gone up in some cases as much as nearly 300% near data centers. I worry that when they add erotica to ChatGPT, it's gonna use all of the electricity that we generate in the world. What do you think?
I love it. That's the only thing it's good for. The internet started as a porn thing, is my take. And everything that started, that eventually became popular, was just so we could see naked bodies. I love treat adults like adults situation. And I would say that to allow it to engage in erotica is treating adults like they're teenagers.
Yeah. I get the idea, but
I still do it. I pay for this like weird Icelandic AI image generator mostly to give me ideas for like designing my house. But
sure.
But you'll see I go through pockets of like naked lady lying on a sofa in a very tasteful mid-century Japan-inspired TV and music lounge.
So you're sort of having your architectural design and eating it too.
That's disgusting, John. I like that. When they're talking about the safety measures that they're taking on ChatGPT, we're being very careful with age gating and mental health because we want to be safe here at ChatGPT. OpenAI, the thing that they've been criticized for is being the first to kind of feed the entire internet into their model, whereas previously, a lot of the people over whom they now have an advantage were more bound by ethics, at least nominally, than ChatGPT. And because they basically were the first one to be like, all right, just unleash the hounds, they got this advantage. So it's kind of silly in light of the criticisms they've gotten for him to be saying this as though they're reputedly safe.
It seems like a natural thing if they want more people to use it. I do very much worry about the effects this could have in terms of like electricity usage and stuff like that. Not having it seems kind of weird considering all that you can do on the platform. It's got that weird American puritanical thing of like you can do all this violent stuff, although they have some limitations on that in terms of picture generation. But like you can theoretically do stuff that's violent or even like but you can't do that. That's always seemed a bit strange, even though that generally has seemed to be a line a lot of platforms that want to be taken very seriously and be considered family friendly don't want to cross. And I think there's some concerns, like if we bring up this first Mark Cuban tweet, he says that he thinks it's gonna backfire hard because the fact that you couldn't do any erotica on ChatGPT might have helped to make parents feel comfortable with their kids being on it. And there's gonna be age gating, But are parents going to know that, understand that, trust that kids won't be able to get around it? It might be that this could actually lower, some people's usage of the platform. Now that is not a family friendly thing. And so he's really worried about that. And he says in the second tweet that it's not about like a morality thing. It's just that it could hurt the business of OpenAI, which I don't know. We kind of have to see. Again, they're going to do age gating. How effective will it be? I don't know. But there are concerns about the use of these things as they roll out new features. I saw this headline, Brett, and I thought it was amazing. OpenAI pauses Sora video generations of Martin Luther King Jr. because apparently it's the case, and nobody could have predicted that letting people just put whatever words they want in MLK Jr.'s mouth, some people were abusing that. Nobody could have seen it coming. But so they have paused that now. And we have one other aspect on this I want to turn to in a second, but first feel free to jump in.
Oh no, I want to see this thing.
Okay, so this was, I believe this was producer Mike. He came across yet another development in robotics, not in the body and stuff, but a new version of face technology. Take a look at this. So that seems pretty good, I think. I mean, maybe in person it's less convincing. And obviously they're not quite there yet, but I think that looked pretty human. What do you think?
That would be great for wives. Go that thing. Don't me that thing. But unfortunately, people are going to engage in communication with these things before they figure out how to get to know and love a human and have and require the self, that internal regulator, that I be decent enough to earn that. You don't need it. But all of this stuff, if you have a prolonged enough conversation with your AI large language model, you're gonna want to convince it to be your girlfriend. I don't know how women use this. I just a friend, a girlfriend. Yeah, that's the thing for me. That's just ugh. I know where it's headed, and I'm not gonna stop it. I don't think anyone's gonna stop it. I'm more interested in what happens to jobs. Yeah. I like a world in which you can just have a job, going and doing something and being there and being I'm done, it's 5, I'm leaving. It seems like what AI is gonna lead to is a world where we're all middle managers. And speaking from experience.
Yeah, and that's a hell you're familiar with.
It's it's cool. Okay, I guess the thing I think is probably gonna happen to most industries is with AI is what's happened to entertainment. Because they made the tools by which they eliminated a lot of jobs where you show up and it'll be I'm gonna put the lights here. I'm gonna be the person responsible for your sound technology. I'm a camera operator. I'm the only person capable of handling this $200,000 camera. Those jobs are gone. And now the job is just one-stop shop influencer. And I think that's a bad thing. I think they take an industry and now it's not the person who assembles stuff. It's not the person who is the security guard who sits there. It's not the person who makes your lunch at the restaurant. There's not gonna be a short order cook if this goes to. So those jobs, which are good, decent, normal jobs, are gonna be gone. You have to be the restaurateur. You have to you're gonna have to be the person who runs the small business that doesn't have brick and mortar. You're just in a box, vaguely running your own whatever it is business.
Maybe, honestly, I feel like it would be easier to replace that than the person making the food. Based on what I've seen of AI on the one hand and these robots on the other hand, I think actually teaching them to exist in the physical world and do physical things, especially non-rote things that are very different and have to adapt to changing circumstances, I think that's gonna be harder for them. honestly.
I think once I say to you, like, have you ever seen how it's made?
I've
Like
seen the movies that made
pre-AI.
us.
Oh no,
Is it
I
like
mean
that?
like I would say that the school lunch or the lunch could be replaced
Yeah.
by I'm not talking. So my thing is like you'd be the chef at your own restaurant, but you
Yeah.
need to find a restaurant. So you probably just be like someone at their house who subscribes to a service where there's auto delivery, and you have a kitchen where you're just making everything to order for people. I think
Yeah.
like
I don't know.
competing
Anyway,
with that. I just don't know. I want to fast forward to past the point where they eliminate all these jobs and everyone spends about like 40 years not doing any jobs because we're in this abundance economy. Then we get really bored and we're like, well, let's just get rid of the AI here. And the jobs are now fun little things to do.
yeah, that sounds fun. I kind of feel like that's a better case scenario than is likely to actually play out. We all know that some sort of universal basic income is going to be necessary. The government has not historically been super generous unless required by threat of force to do that. But I have a point and a question. So can we bring up the B-roll again? Can you put both of us and put the shot of the face? Because I made this point in our production meeting, and I want to test you because apparently I see faces as being similar that are not. Does that look like anyone to you?
Xenia on a top.
Famke Jameson?
Famke
No,
Jameson.
Edwin, does that look like anybody to you? I think that looks so much like Keira Knightley. And nobody has agreed with me. There's something wrong with me. The other point I want to make, I was watching a video of, it was on Time a couple weeks ago or something. And it's one of these humanoid robot manufacturers that has this robot that's like trying to like do laundry or whatever. And it's kind of advanced, but kind of can't do it or whatever. And he's talking about how you get to selling billions of these. And they're laying out, it's obviously going to replace a lot of jobs, which they totally want and think are awesome. But then also they want to sell like one robot to every human. And they're talking about like why people would buy the robots. And I love that they're like, I want a robot that's gonna like do the dishes and clean the laundry. Which like I get that sounds good. That's family friendly. But who is spending $10,000 to $50,000 to not have to do their own laundry? Like to your earlier point, none of those CEOs want to be like, people are gonna want to have sex with these things. Like none of them can say it.
Oh,
that's obviously what the pitch is gonna be.
Because it's better to own a person than a robot.
Quote, clip that out for.
I'm just
for
saying,
Brett's
like,
intro.
no,
It's better to
that's
own
obviously a
person.
joke. The joke is like, in this world, like, okay, two things. First, it sounds cool to have a robot, but that is not a functional thing. That's a luxury good. That is a status
They
symbol.
want it to be a standard thing that everybody has one.
So I worked on Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Declassified presented by Verizon. And as part of it, we went to the Waltham Innovation Center, which was a Verizon Innovation Center where they were doing, it was kind of like a concept pop-up at their one of their research facilities. And they were demonstrating what the future might look like. And there was an iPad and everything. They were like, oh, there's gonna be smart devices, the Internet of Things. There's gonna be an iPad in your fridge. There's gonna be an iPhone in your range and an iPhone in the washing machine. But that, and you understand why they would have that idea. But the solution actually is not that. The solution is you have a phone and it controls all those things.
Yeah.
And I think the AI is probably just going to work its way in some other way other than a humanoid robot, because the humanoid thing is in itself less efficient than most stuff. It's great relative to other animals, but like it's not like if the washing machines would look like people if that was the most efficient way to wash clothes.
Yeah, that's a good point. And also, like, as cool as it is to have a robot, I don't want a humanoid robot. I want a robot like in Andor. So I want a tiny little cute rolling robot or whatever.
Right.
That's cooler, man. I want R2D2, not C3PO. They don't seem to get that. They all want humanoids because they saw iRobot and they think that's the future.
Right, and that's
anyway.
only to have a physical self to physically interact with, when usually I'm talking to ChatGPT to exchange ideas, or like while I'm driving, I have a question about something and I do the talk. And they do simulate aliveness, but usually with the glowing thing. And I think the reason for that is the same reason that like until it is a physical humanoid form with a face, you can project so much more onto it.
Yeah.
Than once it's a booby robot in your house, and it's just that one booby robot. And I want a
Which Brett
different
will only
booby
be
robot.
concerned with projecting one thing onto.
And that's in your
fantasy.
like sanctioned pornography Ex Machina, where he's got all the different skins for the booby robots.
Good movie. Got to watch that again.